all over the world. And I'd like to do a one-a-day, and that one-a-day is this. Mutation, inflammation is actually cellular constipation. Go figure. And who would ever think that it was the cells getting constipated that caused this? How many of you know, okay, that inflammation, the first part of that word is inflame? How many people know that fire eats up oxygen? How many people know that you've got to have inflammation, chronic inflammation, long enough and strong enough, okay, that will actually eat up 35% of the oxygen in a cell before you'll ever have mutation? So first we get acute situation of inflammation, and then we get chronic inflammation. Now, what comes with chronic inflammation? Scar tissue formation, okay? And also, what else? Calcification, not just outside the cell, but in the cell. And how many people know that when we have inflammation in our body, that the cell wall actually thickens on the outside to protect the inside from the outside? But by doing that, now you create a swamp inside the cell because you're not getting proper flow inside and outside. So when that happens, we get more inflammation, more calcification, but we lose oxygen. And when we lose oxygen for 35% or more of our oxygen, the cell goes, I can't survive. I can't stay alive. I don't want to die. So I just want to what? Survive. Look, the majority of the population does not know how to thrive. It barely knows how to survive. This is a mad, mad, crazy world. Tell me that it isn't, okay? It is totally crazy, all right? So the only person that received the Nobel Prize was Dr. Otto Warburg for the cause of cancer. And why don't you go ask your cancer doctor, your GP, your surgeon, okay, what is the cause of cancer? And they will not mention the name of Dr. Otto Warburg, because if you actually knew that it was because your cells were lacking 35% of oxygen and that they actually became a swamp and they became constipated with actually toxicity and calcification, that actually the calcium actually wraps itself around the mitochondria, and the mitochondria are actually, are you ready for this? The brain of the cell. It's not the nucleus like the medical system says. It is the mitochondria that spin 2,500 times, that create the ATP, that create your energy. How many people know that a 75-kilogram man needs to make 85 kilograms of ATP every day to have energy and to thrive, not just to survive? Most of you on a psychological level out there just want to survive. Well, I will never just want to survive any which way, any form on this planet. Inflammation and mutation are cellular constipation. And understand something, before you ever had cellular constipation, you had constipation already in your bowels. But no, you didn't, because guess what? Oh no, my bowels are just fine. You go to a doctor, and I have people coming to me, and they'll say, I went to my doctor, and he said, after I told him that, I only go to the wash once every second day, I only go to the wash once a day, I only go to the wash once every 5 days, or my child only does. And the doctor's going to say, well, that's part of their personality. Whenever they're going to the washroom, that's just fine. What the heck is going on? You can't go to a medical doctor for health information, because guess what? It's contamination, inflammation, and mutation all the way across the board. Let's talk about it. So anyways, I just got a call from a beautiful lady overseas, and her father, okay, just went and had what? What did he just get? He just got rounds of chemo. What they did was they put a port into him, and then they actually gave him chemo. Now, does everybody understand about chemo? Do you really? That it was mustard gas from the Second World War, and then it was transformed into what we call chemo, and that medical doctors will get anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on a chemo referral. You think about that. Okay. Why do we have to pay people so much money to do that? Seriously. Why? Why? Okay. Now, so he went and got all this chemo. She's telling me this here today, that he got all this chemo. And after the chemo, they said, guess what? It's shrunk, but we still want to do the surgery. Okay. Are you like insane? Is the majority of the population just always going to be so dumbed down and insane? I said to her, so how big was this tumor in his bowel before the chemo? She said, 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters? There's 2.5 centimeters in an inch. That means that his tumor was less than an inch big. It was about the size of a small walnut. Guys, do you understand what a tumor is, what a fibroid is? Well, first of all, 20 years ago, they used to call fibroids would be the benign one, right? Not cancerous, right? And then tumors were the cancerous ones. Now the doctors call them all tumors. And do you think they're not scaring the living crap out of everybody? Because people have not distinguished, they distinguish that, if I have a fibroid, it's non-cancerous. If I have a tumor, it's cancerous. So why aren't they telling everyone, well, we're all just putting it under the same label because, we just don't want to be wrong. So we'll just make everybody have cancer. There is not another organization that is highly regulated and conditioned. Well, yeah, dentists are. There's another one. I mean, seriously. I mean, how many people think that dentists are doctors? How many people think that medical practitioners are doctors, for God's sakes, and that they're actually in the healthcare industry? So anyway, so now this guy I had only a 1-inch tumor, less than a 1-inch tumor, okay? And I don't even know if it was a tumor or a fibroid. God knows anymore who's telling the truth. Maybe I'm just making it all up, and I'm just a drama queen. Okay. Anyways, so now they want to open them up, and they want to do surgery, and they said that they shrunk it. I said, well, how much did they shrink it? Because, it wasn't that big to begin with. And she said, well, I don't know. And I said, but they're going to open them up? And I said, she goes, yeah, I'm scared that if they open it up, the cancer will spread. I said, cancer doesn't spread. You can't show me any scientific proof that cancer cells spread throughout the body. It's the inflammation that spreads. Look, if my immune system is down, okay, and I'm terrorizing myself because somebody told me that I've got cancer and everybody believes that cancer is a death sentence, am I creating more stress, dumping more adrenaline, more cortisol, and inflaming and exhausting my energy levels and destroying my immune system? Yes, we all know that. I'm telling you right now, I think it's the most ridiculous thing that people say cancer spreads, inflammation spreads like a bad fire. And it spreads epigenetic, not genetically, because there is no genetic cancers. We already know that. So anyway, so now I said to her, she goes, well, what am I going to do, Dr. Wolf? And you know what? And when I watch your stuff and you said, yeah, that, fungus doesn't cause cancer, but fungus is a part of cancer. Well, that's because I said this, because it's true. When you've got low vibrational tissue, when you've got low immune system in each cell, okay, the environment dictates who's going to live there. The reason why you get cancer parasites or parasites in an area, or you get fungus in an area, or bad bacteria, they're all going there to feed on rotting tissue, okay? They're going to feed on very inflamed, mutating tissue. That's what they're doing, because that's what they do. They eat up that rotten tissue. So she said to him, oh my God, you have green toes, Dad. And she goes, you do know that's a fungus and you're rotting. And she said to him, are you calling me a pig? So, it's very hard to actually talk to people and tell people the truth. Everybody is so defensive and they're so offended so easily. Do you know what he's going to do? You know what he's going to do? If the surgery doesn't work to get rid of the tumor, he's going to go and buy an $80,000 chemotherapy pills, $80,000 in Europe that just came out. Everybody's looking for the silver bullet. People don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their body. They don't believe that they can heal. Well, guess what? Can we blame people? Medical doctors go, there's no cure. Medical doctors are just using chemo and radiation or surgery. And they've been doing that now for what, 75 years? They have nothing new, but they're never going to have anything new because nobody's looking for a cure. And I don't believe in a cure. I believe in the perfect day. I believe this, so that you can reverse anything that you have. But what if I scare the living crap out of you and you believe that you have no value? What if you believe that if my doctor can't heal me, nobody can? All the greatest scientists in the world have come together and they can't figure this out. Boy, we are so screwed over. And, not me. I'm not screwed over. I'll never have cancer. I'll never have a disease. And then you may be on here and go, oh, yeah, you'll get yours, Daryl. No, I won't get mine. Understand something. And whether you want to believe this or not, people that have cancer actually believe in the whole cancer belief system. I don't believe that there's anything called cancer. It's just inflammation. And you have inflammation because you have an inflammatory mind and you have very bad beliefs. People aren't bad. People aren't unhealthy. They have unhealthy beliefs. And those unhealthy beliefs make them unhealthy. People that have really healthy beliefs, okay, they are healthy. In a world like this where, well, there's no chemtrails here, but, they're chemtrailing all over the place, poisoning the water since, how long? The last 100 years, for God's sakes. All right? And they're poisoning the food. They're poisoning everything. For God's sakes. I just don't know. But the reality is that they can do whatever they want, but I'm not going to get sick. I'm never going to be sick. I know how to stay well. Let me tell you something. My New World practitioners that know Wolf Non-Surgical, they can go in there and they can, guess what? They know what to do from a whole life coach certification and from Wolf Non-Surgical certification, how to go in there and teach people how to get rid of their tumors, their fibroids. There's so much, their diseases when there is no diseases, because diseases are just chronic symptoms and there is no such thing as symptoms. They're just love messages coming from your body saying, you don't know how to love me. You don't know how to care for me. So I'm going to keep on dinging your doorbell. Then I'm going to knock your door down. And then eventually you're going to get knocked down. Okay. Because you got 50 trillion cells that came together as a community to try to give you the most beautiful life. Now, I'm going to tell you about another one. So I have a gentleman and a chronic smoker, alcoholic, okay? And he's been on our protocol. We don't cure cancer. We're not trying to get rid of his cancer. Do you know what we're doing? If you get rid of the inflammation, you get rid of all mutation. If you get rid of the inflammation and you restore the 35% of oxygen that you've lost in those cells, guess what? Those cells will convert back into normal cells. And that's the God's truth. If a cell has gone so far that it's cancerous and it can't be brought back to normal, all you got to do is bring up the vibration. And guess what? It will kill itself. That's right. And you can say goodbye to it. I want anybody out there that really wants to do their homework to go into my library and take a look at calcium ion therapy and look at Merigen and also look at stealth glucose. Okay, you can also download my pdgfree.com guide and blow your mind. You can actually read that thing or go into my library and do my master classes and become your own practitioner. But anyways, so this gentleman who has been a smoker for 40 years and an alcoholic for 40 years, okay, all right? He went on our protocol and he gave up the alcohol, but he couldn't give up the smoking. And so he was on the protocol. And when he was on the protocol, there was a little bit of swelling taking place because now there's energy coming into the actual tumor in his throat. So it started to swell a little to push the toxins out. So then it started swelling a lot. And then I said to his daughter, well, this is because he hasn't stopped something, the alcohol or the smoking, because there's no reason for all that swelling. We found out it was still smoking. So now he stopped smoking, so it's not overly swelled, but it's still swollen. But guess what? He notices every few days his symptoms are dropping. All the negative symptoms are dropping. Now, believe it or not, he started the protocol and now he's more tired than he was before the protocol. Why? Do you know why? Because his body's going into alignment and says, we need to lay down and rest. Before, he was going on adrenaline and cortisol. And did you ever notice when you were really like fearful? running. Oh my God. And then you slow down. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in bed or you find yourself with a headache because your body has to repair all the damage that you did when you were in fight, fright, and flight. When you're in fight, fright, or flight, you've got no symptoms hardly. But as soon as you come out of fight, and flight, and you actually come back into alignment, your body's going to go, you need to rest. You need to hydrate. You need to bring nutrition in. You need to detoxify. And it goes, if you want to save your life. And then the symptoms show up and you go, oh my God, am I getting worse? Am I dying? And everybody who comes to us with stage 4 inflammation, they call it cancer. You know, they might get a little bit even worse before they get better. I can tell you all kinds of stories. Understand, I am not a cancer clinic. I am an inflammation clinic. So we'll get people that have stage 4 inflammation that come to us. I do not treat cancer. I treat inflammation. If I treated cancer, I would never win. But if I treat an inflamed cell, which cancer is, because understand something, everybody, you know, they did what was called the Genome Project, where they wanted to prove that, cancer was caused from genetics. Well, no, it's not. Cancer is caused from your personality, your lifestyle, your choices. But don't you feel better? Don't you feel better knowing that you created it means you can get rid of it? Do you actually feel better thinking that it's genetic when it's not? And those guys are lying their asses off and they don't even know they're lying. So understand, they're told this, so they believe it. Doctors aren't bad, nurses aren't bad, but the information is bad. It's not good. I think a lie is a lie is a lie, you know, and just because you're ignorant of the fact. I mean, there are people getting hurt over this, aren't they? But understand something. I truly believe that people that would opt for radiation, chemotherapy, and for surgery, I think that, you know, we pick the actual therapies that vibrate at the level that we are. And I'm not trying to say that people are bad or they're evil. I'm trying to tell you that it's easy to program the herd, isn't it? To be slaughtered. Well, let me tell you, and we're getting slaughtered, aren't we? Everybody knows that all autoimmune diseases all the way to cancer are in overdrive. I mean, who can keep up, right? So anyways, like I was saying, this gentleman, okay, so he's still tired, okay, and he's lost some weight, but don't worry. We got him on SON formula, 20 of those a day, IGF 300,000. He's got energy. He's tired, but he's got energy, and it's not long spurts. But remember something. Do you actually think that you should have energy when your body is trying to turn around stage 4 inflammation? It's taking all the energy inside of you to win that battle. So why aren't you laying down and respecting it, going for short walks? Why aren't you just sticking to the protocol and loving yourself, okay, from the moment you rise until you close your eyes? Right now, I have what the medical system would call cancer patients. They're not cancer patients. They're stage 4 inflammation patients. And we have right now almost 40 of them. That's right. And I won't advertise. At one time when I owned the Wolf Clinic, I used to advertise that we would actually work with people with cancer. We were getting 10 and 12 a day until I had so many and so much. I walked away from my business. I couldn't do it anymore. And also, I don't ever want to be anybody's savior. And that's what I really understood too, that, you know, we cannot heal anyone, but we can create the right environment and we can create the right frequency and the vibration that will actually heal. We know that, but the patient has to accept it. And then you've got the family. Oh my God. Most people that have stage 4 inflammation, otherwise they call it cancer. they've got adult children. And I know you're not going to like this, but I'm telling you about 40 to 50%. We've got adult children that, are pissed off at the person trying to get well going our route because it's not covered in the insurance policy, and the children want the money. And of course, I'm a quack. I don't know what I'm doing. So they're just wasting their God-given right as the child of the family. If you think I'm kidding, yeah. Both of the cancer client patients, whatever you want to call them, that I talked about, we've got people in the family that can't do enough for the person, trying to teach the parent about what healing is, and then other family members saying, you're wasting money, you're wasting time, and then there's a lot of people that are so fearful in the family, they just can't take it anymore because cancer is a death sentence, and they just want it over with. Cut it out, burn it out, poison it out, do something. I can't take this, I can't take this. And that's because, guess what? People not just don't know anything about health or eating or living properly. The things they do know are killing them and their family, and they bought into this BS. And that's the truth. If you don't believe me, then why in the heck? It doesn't matter where I am, what country, what city. I can walk down any place where all the restaurants are, and out of 100 restaurants, I'll only find one restaurant that I would actually go in and eat. Okay? Where we are right now, we are so lucky. There's a supermarket right beside us called Fresh Mart. Oh my God, the food's great. Then we have another place that's a restaurant just over here, and it's all beautiful shakes and the food I want to eat. Let me tell you something. You cannot get people to eat right because they're drug addicts. Everybody that has a terrible diet, they would change it today if they weren't a drug addict. This is not a fair playing ground because big tobacco owns all the corporations, and they're poisoning all the food, but they're not poisoning just the food to poison you. They're putting in addictive substances so that, guess what? You crave these things, not because you're hungry, but because your brain says, give me the drug. Okay? Well, you know what? It's just like being a heroin addict, and that's the truth. Okay? All right? I just thank God. I thank God that I don't have any addictions. I have no addictions. I used to have all kinds of addictions. I used to smoke. I used to be addicted to chocolate, okay? Or I'd be addicted to healthy ice cream or healthy this or healthy chips, or it's all junk. It's all junk. You know what? When you become valuable, you don't need any of that. You just love the energy you have, the electricity that goes through your body, living in the present moment, knowing that you're not a slave on this planet. That's where we need to go, everybody. And I haven't been doing, but just know this, everyone. Every week we run amazing sales for all of our clients' patients. I carry the finest products I can find in the world. This is not a sales pitch. I'm telling you, I do carry the best products. High vibrational, nutraceuticals, and understand this. You can call the 800 number, 855-900-4544, extension 0, and ask your questions, okay, about our things. And you can call me at 469-861-8884, and call me as if you've known me forever, and ask me your health questions. I'll tell you what I would do if I was in your situation. I'm not going to diagnose you, but definitely I know with what you're feeling. I've been doing this for 40 years. You think, you know what, seriously, why don't you test me? Why don't you challenge me? But the reality is this, you need to get this. Cancer doesn't spread. Bad information does. What else spreads? Inflammation, like a fire, inflame. And then why do you think you have all that water retention in your body? Because they had to call the fire truck. And understand this, everybody, okay? The only reason why you're in pain and suffering and stiffness, you've got blocks of scar tissue and calcification. That can be totally reversed. That tumor, okay, that cyst, these are all storage sheds for unprocessed negative emotional stuff you can't do because you just can't deal with it because your subconscious isn't yours. it's owned by them. The psycho terrorists, the corporations. Come on, look at the stuff we read. Look at the stuff we listen to. Look at what people bring home. Look what they talk about at the table. Look at what they talk about in the living room. Look what people talk about. Seriously, 90% of what comes out of people's mouths is just like parroting everything here. Just think what 8 billion people could do if they had unconditional love for themselves and every brother and sister, no matter what color, what religion, what language, what belief system they had. I am definitely never judging anyone, whether we're talking about this whole transgender thing, whether we're talking about people coming into the United States by the thousands, illegal aliens. You know what? I'm going to mind my own business and know that these are all spirit beings. And guess what? They want us to fight against ourselves, our family, and everybody's mother, sisters, brothers, uncle. And if you don't get that, then guess what? The main program you're running is hate. So you got to go and feed it. So guess what? If you hate people, okay, or you got things you really hate in your life, then that's the program you're running. You think about it. And guess what? Every belief system needs to be fed. And don't worry, if it's a hate program, okay, they're going to make sure that you get fed until you're bled. All right? Who are we going to hate today? Who are we going to hate today? I'm going to love everybody unconditionally. And that's the God's truth. Have a beautiful day.